Good morning, Mr. Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students. The topic of our debate is this House would abolish primary and secondary school grades or years that group children based on age, instead group them by intelligence and competency. We, the affirmative team, define the topic as we should remove uh, the primary and secondary schools and group the class based on the intelligence and competency. Today, as the first speaker, I'll be talking about the primary and the secondary school, and I'll be talking about the difference with the competency-based focus on focus class, and also the effectiveness of the competency-based learning, and what should we do to do the competency-based class. So the first of all, the primary school is based on the age. Usually they are 5 until 7 years old until 11 and 13 years old. It's between kindergarten and junior schools. It is an early stage of formal education and comes after preschool and then kindergarten education. And then the secondary school is the final phase of formal education. It is between junior high school and senior high school. And senior high school usually will be categorized as 3 or 2 classes, like science class, social class, and language class. And it should be between 13 years old until 17 years old. And the competency-based learning is a learning process based on the potential showed by the student itself. So the group will be divided not by age, but by the competency and potential that is showed by the student itself. And then students are not allowed in this class to continue until they demonstrated their mastery in this class. Competency and intelligence based class is closely tied to mastery learning. And why I call this effective? Because first, in competency based class, we could support students' abilities effectively, because there are a lot of students out there with diversity based on their backstory knowledge and backgrounds. There are also, we could reduce inefficiency like time spent learning. In age-based class like primary and secondary school, usually we use the time to learn all of the materials, but in this we could reduce the time spent learning because we could focus on our own mastery and potential, and we could increase our own achievement instead of learning of what we hard to learn. We could also support students from struggle, like if we struggle in math but we have the potential to draw, in this competency-based class, we could help them struggle in drawing instead of help them struggle in math that they couldn't and hard to understand. We could also be flexible, that they could able to move at their own pace instead of learning what they couldn't understand at all and waste their own time. So that's why I call it, we could reduce inefficiency, and this class could be flexible. And also there should be actions to do this kind of class. So to group by intelligence, we need to prepare. First of all, we could group them by knowing their standard test. We need to know who have which intelligence. So we could do the test, and we could see where their own potential and intelligence are, and we could group them by their own intelligence, and they could do and move by their own pace in that class. And second of all, group them. Yeah, just like I said, after we do the standard test, we already know which have which intelligence, and we could group them based on their intelligence. But of course, we need the teacher that could also help by their mastery too. So the third action is to find the proper teacher that could help the students with their own mastery. So the teacher could help the students' problems, or maybe like increase their students' achievements, potential that could lead them to their own mastery. And then the fourth, we could find the best books for them to learn. We couldn't learn from what the teacher just said. We could also learn them from books. So instead of like the primary and secondary school, we could also find the best books to learn. Instead of like science book, we could also find books to socially, or maybe like drawing books to learn. And we could also do the best schedule for them to learn efficiently, because of course there may be some of the students that can't learn uh, in some time. So we could do the best schedule, find the best schedule for them to learn effectively. To conclude that, primary and secondary school that is based on years and age uh, is sometimes inefficient for students to learn and to upgrade their ability. And we think that competency-based learning is more efficient because it's focused on mastery and could help students to move at their own pace, and could help them to gain more achievements by their own talents that they could find. And they could also be helped by the teacher around them that also master uh, in that mastery. So thank you for listening.